When you go to Sebring, there's just one instruction you've got to follow. Respect the bumps. It is a circuit absolutely displaying its history on its surface, unrepaved since World War II. It's an incredibly historic circuit, and it plays host to round 6 of the ChampCar iRacing Series in 2024, the iRacing Championship of the ChampCar Endurance Series. I've been to many exciting circuits so far this year, and it brings us for our first visit to Sebring here at round 6, where we'll be in the Ford Mustang FR 500S. And to bring you coverage of all of it tonight, be it on ChampCar Live, HJBC, wherever you're watching, I'm David Haynes with Devin Peters and Michael Derby. Devin, good track.
It's a great track there, bud. And it's going to show us some great racing tonight, I think, as we look at our qualifying session in the background. We've got plenty of guys in contention for the overall championship this season. Two-time race winners in Paul Darling and Cameron Martineau, as well as the current race qualifying leader, DJ Alessandrini, who's whooping both of them with a 2:19.7. So it's looking like it's going to be a good race out there tonight.
Yes, indeed. A 60-minute race is ahead of us, and they're just in the tail of qualifying right now. You see the current pole sitter, DJ Alessandrini, there with just a tiny bit of traffic, but the slipstream can help you around here. It's very high speed across a number of the straights on the front straight into the fast and formidable turn 1, where you got to look for the cone in the catch fencing for your apex up against the concrete wall. The Ullman back straight is fast here, and so too is the run that the drivers are going to work their way through a little later on, through Big Bend and down towards the braking zone at turn 7. This is that turn 1, and there is an apex somewhere there.
Tell me if you find it, because I usually don't. And David Haynes, if you were going to design a motor car to go across the venerable bumps of Sebring, would you design a motor car that has that is just one straight beam?
No, I think I'd design a hovercraft. I think that would do pretty well around here. Levitate yourself on a smoothing cushion of air, but we ain't got that.
Looks like a couple of guys have decided that they didn't like the lap they were on, but we've got 3 of our fastest guys lining up here for a fast one, I think. Currently that's DJ Alessandrini leading Paul Darling with Josh Soto trailing behind. And they'll be coming to the line this time. Let's see what they do.
Yep, they make their way through the final corner, Sunset Bend. I think we'll work out in a couple of minutes' time why it's called that, as we then race into the darkness at Sebring. This is on board. There's that cone in the catch fencing for your apex through turn 1. On board with Paul Darling, second on the road in this group, second in qualifying at the moment. Approaches to turn 3, 4, 5, where there are some illuminated palm trees out there amongst the fans. Try to say illuminable, because they're not lit right now, but they will be after dark, and I'm not sure illuminable is quite a word that normally describes palm trees, if it's even a word at all.
Yeah, I'm going to have to come down on the side of not a word at all there, David Haynes, but that's okay. We're commentators. We get to make the rules. No one else gets the mics.
I've never said it before in my life, but now I'm going to work illuminable into a lot more things from now on. They're tightly packed on the road here, the 3 of them as well, so I don't quite know if this is the way to improve. Going sideways, struggling to get the traction from this all-American V8 race car.
Yeah, it is an interesting strategy, that's for sure. These things, we were remarking that despite, before the broadcast, we were talking that despite the fact that these things have a big old wing and big boxy profiles, they don't seem to make a huge difference drafting down the straightaway. And I don't know if that's just because they've got just enough power or what, but with how close these guys are together, you'd think that it was a bigger issue, the draft, than it actually seems to be. The real trick with these things is seemingly knowing when to shift. and making sure that you're heel toeing into the corners, because they got that good old-fashioned gearbox and a nice torquey V8 that wants a nice early shift. And some of our competitors were reporting that it can be nearly a second and a half difference when you find the right shift points versus the wrong ones.
Paul Darling and DJ Alessandrini don't think they're going to be improving on that lap, and Joshua Soto goes through and goes ahead of them on the road. He's currently 5th in qualifying. Cameron Martineau just improved. He's gone to 3rd. Joshua Soto crosses the line, and it sends him to 3rd place. If you want to watch the live timing, as we're live right now, then hjbc.live has that live timing. If you've got a friend, a teammate, an arch rival, I'd love to hear about that, but you can check their progress both now in qualifying and in the race going to hjbc.live, and it has all sorts of useful stuff during the race as well, like the live gaps and their pit stops, their pit stop times, etc. We're down to just 2.5 tenths to separate our top 3 right now, with that previous lap being an improvement for Joshua Soto, but the one he's currently on looks like it's not. I think he's been off track.
Yeah, easy to do around here, especially when you're holding on to a steering wheel that looks like a bus's steering wheel and feels like it too. It's busy out there, honestly. I've been kind of looking around the whole track and seeing guys kicking up dirt everywhere. We've got Ryan Carwile here. He's a new competitor for us. We'll see what he's going to do tonight, but he's certainly looking quick out there. Currently 5th on the timing sheets with a 2:20.9. And there's a whole gaggle of guys in the next group, from Zachary Rubin in 6th all the way back to, say, I'll call it, that's 15th place is Andy Kosick. We've got about 9 cars all within a second of each other there. And then the lead pack kind of starting to separate themselves, running those low 220s and 219s in a few cases.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent big lap around here, that's for sure. Over the 3.5 miles. Our graphics says something different to what iRacing's telling me as for the length of this race track on the Sebring International Raceway full layout. We'll get to the bottom of that one at some point. It's a circuit that's changed a number of times since first hosting racing here after being decommissioned as an Air Force base. One of the bits that hasn't changed is these concrete runways.
Yeah. And guys getting lost and going on the dirt. I think that's one of the things that's part of the tradition around here, as well as the illuminable lights on the palm trees. That's the 66 there. Looking good in that thing is
Sean Roberts.
Sean Roberts. Yeah, let's just get back to him.
Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
The longer you look, the more Steelers I think you'll see on that as well. Not sure. Maybe I've just offended him.
No, I think you got it right in terms of color scheme, though. The logo would seem to suggest it's a budget truck.
There we go. I think we established just before coming on air that I'm not an expert in whatever sport the Steelers play. Hang on. They're not Penguins or Pirates. So they must be, I'm embarrassing myself right now, an NFL team?
Ah, yes. Yeah,
they don't play baseball or ice hockey, and that by process of elimination, I think I've worked it out.
You got to figure it out.
You must.
I was going to say, most people don't know who their starting quarterback is these days. But that's something that's liable to actually offend the Steelers fans out there. Anyways.
We just had a quick look at Orlando Herald, and maybe I'm talking out the proverbial again here without the stats to back it up, but I don't think Orlando Herald has missed a single race yet this season.
No, I believe you're right. I think I've got him on every single finishing results sheet that we've got out here in front of us. Yeah, and he was also, of course, the winner of our rounds 1 to 4 prize draw, weren't he? No, that's last season.
No, it was Kyle Robertson from Drivetrainer Motorsports, who looks like he's back. There's definitely a couple of Drivetrainer cars out there. You got to look pretty high up the order. Kyle Robertson's in 10th at the moment. DJ Alessandrini, as the checkered flag waves on the start-finish line, remains up top. Paul Darling does not improve on that lap to usurp him up top. Joshua Soto and Cameron Martineau remain 3rd and 4th, with this man, Ryan Carwile, in 5th. Presently looking to share row 3 of the starting grid with Zachary Rubin. We'll have a look-see then at who's on track and may be able to improve. Not going to be Cameron Sennhauser, but always a good trick to test the pit lane entry. And how about his brother Logan Sennhauser, both of Sennhauser Racing Team? I won't say the most creatively named team, but hey, it checks out for the brothers, who are 24th and 25th. Checkered flag for everyone. Grid is locked in, and we'll bring it to you as we can. The drivers now will be getting ready for the 1 hour race, where they will have to make a pit stop at some point. It's a thirsty All-American V8 for sure. So they're about to grid up for the formation lap. 32 drivers, of which 31 have qualifying times to set them on the grid. And this is the order that they will be. DJ Alessandrini, 1/10 clear of Paul Darling. They form the front row. Joshua Soto and Cameron Martineau form row number 2. And then Ryan Carwile and Zachary Rubin. Nick Love and Tim Wire, the row behind, and then Tim Trahan and aforementioned Drivetrainer Motorsport driver Kyle Robertson. And then Sean Fritz and Davis Trask, Jared Collins and Bowie Sewin. Got teammates Andy Kosick and Lee Martin alongside each other there. Bill Woods, Mark Kruger, Aaron Reed, Thomas Yankee, the top 20. And then Orlando Herald there in 21st, with Zach Balthazar, Sean Roberts, Logan Sennhauser and Cameron Sennhauser, Albert Pearsall, Colin Lounsbury, Mitchell Mahefka, Scott Grinnell, Stephen Schaefer, and then 31st place Tyler Rendell is the last driver with a qualifying time, and Bill Salen in 32nd didn't set one. They have the iRacing pace car for company to lead them today. As you see, that's 32 drivers, 31 with qualifying order. Sun is going to set on us, of course, across this race. Currently in the session time, just past 8 p.m. We'll be finishing in the night. At some point, all of those Mustang headlights are going to come on. Paul Darling is the driver missing from the front row right now alongside DJ Alessandrini. There he is, just in the nick of time, and only Thomas Yankee missing from the formation. Beautiful, beautiful sight. 32 Ford Mustangs in the Florida sunset, ready to go racing at one of America's great sports car racing venues, Sebring International Raceway.
It's a beautiful thing seeing all these cars rolling off. It'll be a fun one tonight.
Yeah, weather check is it's a warm evening at the moment for sure, with just a little bit of a breeze rolling across. No chance of rain for the Ford Mustang for the immediate future, but some of the other cars later on in the season might have to put their wet weather tyres on, depending on what the weather does. Go 83 Fahrenheit on the track, 80 in the air. maybe a tiny bit on the warm side for an evening, but not bad.
Yeah, it is Florida, so that's how it goes. Cars will be trying to get some heat in their tires at this point. These Mustangs like to have a nice warm before anything starts to stick. And even once they do stick, they don't tend to stick very long. The tires will wear out if these guys are abusive to them.
So there are some newer Ford Mustangs in the world, but this is a beautiful sight, this generation of Ford Mustang FR 500S. It was sort of an entry-level Mustang kind of cup car for the Mustang Challenge as it was in the 2000s, a category that's been revived this year with the new shiny Mustang Dark Horse. So we'll see if they get populated on iRacing at some point. This machine's been around a little while, and it's got some good classic features to it, like a 6-speed H-pattern gearbox, like that incredibly sophisticated rear suspension you were talking about, Devin. But up front, the key feature, it's a 4.6 litre V8.
Yeah, and pushing just shy of 300 horse, I think, is what I remember about these things. But it's just enough to get the rear tires spinning on the way off the corners. That part I'll guarantee.
Just enough to get you in trouble, for sure.
Field's starting to form up as we're coming through the back half of the course here, up towards the Mont Curve.
Okay, here's my driver to watch. Colin Lounsbury in 27th place on the grid, won race 3 of the championship this year in the Theo Cup. I don't think a 27th place grid start represents the level of consistency and speed he showed back then. Obviously, we've got some really good drivers in the first couple of rows. Already race winners, Cameron Martineau, Paul Darling and Joshua Soto in the ChampCar iRacing series. They all start inside of the top 6. What about some of the drivers a little deeper in the field? What kind of an impact can they make in 1 hour of racing at Sebring International Raceway? It's one more corner of the formation lap. The sedan will pull to the pit entry. We'll get a green flag. 60 minutes will begin and we'll go racing at Sebring. Leader starts to back them up a little bit. It's DJ Alessandrini on the left-hand row for the inside at turn 1. Green flag is up, green flag is waving, and we are racing. Everyone heading down towards turn 1, stretching the legs of the ponies towards turn 1. Wide entry here on the bumpy concrete. DJ Alessandrini has it all under control as he gets us going.
And they're clean through turn number 1, knock on wood. I saw a little bit of dirt kicked up here, but no bumpers lost yet.
Back in the field, things are a little more compressed than up front. Working their way through this twistier section, turns 3, 4, 5 with a change of direction coming out of there through the very quick, flat out, sweeping turn 6 there into the biggest braking zone on the circuit at turn 7 within view of the hotel, where there are lights in the swimming pool that are also illuminable. We'll keep an eye on that one as we race into the sunset. The brake lights already very noticeable as it's long stopping distances in this car. It's heavy, it gets up to speed, so she takes a bit of stopping as well into a hairpin like turn 7.
Yeah, it's starting to get single file all the way through the field. Things are clearing up.
So no changes inside of the first 3 rows of the grid, 1st to 6th, all running as they qualified, but Tim Wire has made a spot off of Nick Love in 7th and 8th. And then Davis Trask's taken a spot off Sean Fritz. Bill Woods has made a couple of spots. So has Andy Cossack.
Yeah, and it's been pretty good through the field. We've lost Aaron Reed, who had a little spin out of 19th place, but he got the thing going the right way. See him here come through tower turn, easy to do over the bumps, but luckily keeps it off the wall, ish, and gets it going. just a little bent bumper on that Mustang.
Spinning tower of Reed in that case, perhaps. Nearly 1 lap done here. With the kind of speeds that the V8 can get us up to on the long straights, they get around here a lot quicker than I did in a 4-cylinder Honda. This is looking like Nick Love getting his spot back from Tim Wire. Your top 6 stretching away, but from 7th on back, my oh my, this is fiercely contested. Wire has a good run off Sunset Bend, and he's going to look to the inside of turn 1. Track opens up a little bit here in this configuration, but it's a shallow entry from Wire, swooping around the outside. Nick Love can't quite hold his ground. Kyle Robertson had a shallow run through there as well, defending the inside line from the Rainbow Warrior Davis Trask behind him.
That's good taste. I like that paint job there.
The number to go with it as well? No, not quite.
I got a teddy bear named Gordon for obvious reasons. But yeah, it's good racing here. And this battle pack from 7th extends basically all the way back to 23rd at this point. So there's not any safe spots on the track at this point as we get going on the second lap here now. Nick Love and Tim Wire got plenty of experience racing against each other, whether it's in the Endurance Series or in the Sprint Series. We see them pretty often.
Yeah, we sure do. So they've traded that spot a couple of times. Tim Wire holding the 7th at the moment in the Team Salen's car. And as they find their feet, I think they're going to get a little bit closer towards some of the cars in front. I'm not sure that much curb through tower is the quickest way to do it, though.
One of the trickiest corners on the course, that one, you know. Simple 90 degrees, but the way the bumps play out, it'll throw you all over the place.
Just a little bit of camber in there late that you need to hook to carry maximum speed as well. And you're never quite sure you are going to hook it, so you don't carry in as much speed as you think you can until you do, and then you miss it, and you regret being as committed as you were. So Wire with a good exit there. Nick Love not so much. Kyle Robertson right on him, middle of the road down the Ullman Straight, heading towards Sunset Bend, a corner of 1,000 possible racing lines. Some turn in late for a late apex, some try to take a double apex, some just hang out wide, and there is a mistake easy to make coming out of Le Mans corner.
Yeah, that's Scott Grinnell who's churned it, I think. Yeah, that's the one you're looking at. Gets the inside of the curb and bumper comes right off it. And pretty fortunate to get away with just losing the front end. I think that car might be able to continue on. It's a capped fuel tank that you start with at the start of these races, so drivers do need to extend the first stint a certain length in order to be able to fuel up to the end. They're too wide, though, up here. And that looks like the battle for 7th place, 8th place? Yeah, that was Tim Wire trying to go around the outside of Kyle Robertson.
Yeah, Nick Love's back up into 7th now. Tim Wire all over him, braking pretty early, maybe a little too early for some of the drivers behind, and forces Robertson to have a look down the inside of that sharp turn 7 hairpin. A little bit of off-track action there, kicking up some of the dirt. There's a reason the grass can't grow there. It's disturbed by far too many racing drivers.
Yeah, even that strong Florida grass is no match. But Kyle Robertson going up the inside again. Almost worked for him at the last one. Let's see if it works here. They're going to stick too wide, and I bet you they'll stick too wide. Almost all the way to tower. Oh no, Tim Wire's got the inside line on the exit, and he'll take 8th place away and try to rejoin Nick Love, who's managed to make a few cars gap.
Tim Trahan's round the outside there with the blue and white stripes against Davis Trask. Going backwards a little bit, Jared Collins, blue and green. And Bill Woods, the next car behind, and they're bringing more friends into the fray. Here comes Andy Kosick, Mitchell Mahefka, Mark Kruger, and Orlando Harrell as well, as the battle for 7th and 8th encompasses a great deal of the field right now.
Wow, that's an iconic blue and white paint job there on Tim Trahan's car. I really like that. Good-looking Mustangs, but, you know, they're all good-looking Mustangs, right? So hard to pick one out.
headlight time officially as we approach sunset at Sebring International Raceway for the ChampCar iRacing Series Round 6. Again, every possible variation of racing line through Sunset Bend on show from that pack. But up front, DJ Alessandrini leads by 0.7 of a second over Paul Darling, feeling some pressure from Joshua Soto. Cameron Martineau going with them as well. They've dropped Ryan Carwile and Zachary Rubin, looking like 4 cars for the lead of the race at the moment as we continue to race headlong into the night.
Saw what might have been our first scheduled stop. Seems a little bit early, but that was Andy Kosik hitting the lane after only 3 laps. Not sure if he just wanted to get out of the battle or what, but I didn't see any damage that would have justified it. So interesting to see how that strategy pays out. Speaking about the front group here, it is interesting to see Carwile and Rubin sort of getting dropped at this point. I wonder if both of them maybe picked up a slowdown at some point in the early phases, because they definitely had the pace in qualifying.
And even Cameron Martineau is struggling to stay in touch with the pace up front. We're on board with Joshua Soto, the reigning ChampCar iRacing Series champ. Won a great deal of races last year and was incredibly consistent on his way to the title and the prizes that go with it.
Yeah, despite the wins last year, though, he's been shut out so far this year. Paul Darling in second and Martineau in fourth with 2 apiece. And then, as you mentioned earlier, Colin Lounsbury, who's up 5 places to 22nd, is the other race winner for the season.
Front bumper, rear bumper, getting mighty close between second and third place there. Closed it just a tiny bit on race leader DJ Alessandrini, who they're not letting get away. But Soto does have his nose down the inside for Sunset Bend, perhaps thinking and fishing for second place. He'll take the tight line in, brake late, try to get the car rotated and slowed across the bumps, and then work out exactly where can I get to the throttle with a track out point of concrete wall and tyre barriers. Feels a little street circuity through this part of the lap.
Yeah, and this scan is a few years old now. I'm not sure it's the exact date, but in this scan, the inside of that corner at Sunset just has that little flat portion right up against the wall, and I think he was able to take that line through there. I'm sure the bumps move year over year out here on this swampy Florida ground.
Yeah, like the birds, they migrate a bit seasonally, year on year, with wear and tear. Top 4 super close, but now with Joshua Soto in second, looking to make an impact on this race. 10 minutes in with 50 to go.
Gotta give a quick shout out to Mitchell Marefka. He's currently running 14th and sniffing up the back of Bill Woods after a really strong start. And we'll have to maybe take a look at that one. He's got some action up ahead of him here. There's a couple cars off the track. That's Tim Trahan, and on the left of him, that's Bill Woods, who may have had a little coming together. But Mitchell's up 14, now 16 spots since the start of the race. Yeah, sure enough, looks like that classic on-throttle oversteer in the slightly old-school cars catching someone out.
Woods was already off. You get a lot of power down low in the revs, a lot of response early in this car, so you do need to be a little measured with the throttle compared to maybe some revier cars where down low in the rev range nothing happens until it, spools up like a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, they get going.
They're also built pretty tough by all we've seen. So everyone who started the race is still going, despite some drama in a few places that we've seen and a few other places that we haven't seen.
Yeah, and virtually everyone on the lead lap. Albert Pearsall had a little issue on either lap 1 or lap 2 and took an early stop, and he's allowed down, but he's the exception rather than the rule. The battle pack of 4 at the front has become 3 as Alessandrini, Soto, and Darling have managed to split themselves off from Martineau, who's going to enter the back of the shot here. really starting to struggle. One of the things you'll notice if you drive these cars a bit is that they do get really sensitive tires in the iRacing model. Easy to overheat them, easy to overdrive them. And so 1 lap fast, easy. An hour laps fast, that's a lot tougher in these cars. So you got to take care of the tires because it's easy to overdrive them. Could be what's affecting our friend Martineau here.
Yep, still eyes on the leaders as DJ Alessandrini, race leader, has the fastest lap of the race still to this point. And like you say, you start to put a little bit of heat into the tyres, you start to get them a little slick. Probably going to struggle to go too much faster and reset that fastest lap of the race at this point. You see them all getting just a little slidier on throttle and through the changes of direction.
I love how these cars move around. It's exactly the kind of racing I want to see.
And they're not a racing slick on these cars either. They're something a little more how we're familiar with. I think they're a BF Goodrich.
Yeah,
they have to have a tread.
I think you're right about that. Treaded Goodriches. I want to say they're an old R compound.
Definitely says BF Goodrich underneath the number panel, so that would probably tip you off to it.
Taking a punishment either way. Things are starting to spread out through the field. We've got battles for 1st through 3rd, 7th through 9th, and 15th through the 22nd by the looks of things. So we'll keep checking in throughout the field as things ebb and flow.
Closest anyone's been to that race lead for a little minute. This is that next group behind Nick Love, Tim Wire, Kyle Robertson. So they've dropped a few, particularly from what we saw in turn 7, a few of the cars that were part of this group going around.
Oh, there was a little bit of drama. Kyle Robertson, Tim Wire, and Nick Love. Love ran it wide on the exit of Sunset, and Wire ran it even wider. And I think he managed to clip the wall with his rear end. Oh, they're getting close together under braking. Is Robertson on Wire there? And it's a little hard to tell with the attitude of these cars being big lumbering things that they are, but these guys are racing the wheels off of them right now.
Yeah, sure are, and things aren't going to get too much easier for everyone as it continues to get darker out there. There's a fair chunk of illumination around the circuit, and you've got those great cat's eyes reflectors, but it certainly gets darker than Daytona or any of the Rovals or places like that at night racing here.
Kruger's had a bad run going through turn 2 in Gurney Bend. He's going to be on the inside defending against Trahan up the outside as they head into the hairpin. Oh, and we switched away from that. But Trahan isn't able to get the job done. Kruger's going to keep holding the inside line. They come down towards Cunningham Corner. See if they have anything to say about it. Staying all in line, but behind them it's getting a little busy. That was Lee Martin jumping out of the way.
He dropped back a bit.
I might have had that slowdown that you can get if you cut the exit of the hairpin the wrong way.
Tower bend again with that just weird little bit of camber at the apex curb late that allows you to flick through the corner, carry a bit more speed through to this part. Lamont and it's a guy's name, Bien or something. Something. Not really putting respect on the corner names and the great history of Sebring International Raceway, both in sports car racing and Formula One racing.
Olivier Jean Debien, gotta think, being Belgian.
Sounds like a cool dude.
Yeah, Belgian guy. The 4-time amateur Le Mans winner. So, yeah, you better. Keeping things busy.
Also, Belgian racing driver Jackie Ickx might be one of the very few to have won Le Mans and Formula One races. So plenty of Belgian history for all of that sort of stuff. Close battles all through the field still. Seeing everyone continue to stay out for the moment, not reaching sort of the end of the pit window just yet. Still a little while away from that. Big tank in these cars, but like you say, a 2000s era American V8 was not getting incredible economy figures.
Yeah, more horsepower was a slightly different equation back then.
It burnt fuel and it made noise, and occasionally somewhere in the middle of that it made a couple horsepower. So that's Kyle Robertson ahead of Tim Wire, having dropped back a tiny bit from Nick Love, who's perhaps found his rhythm in that 7th place. The top 3 still separated by 1 second and settling into their rhythm to then carry towards the pit stop phase, where they can then battle it out hard after that. I think I see Darlin just cracking the throttle a little bit before sunset bend. Joshua Soto doing likewise, and DJ Alessandrini's led every lap of this race so far. These guys are hoping to just go with him for the first stage, maybe cut a little short on the fuel relative to him, jump him into the second phase of the race that will bring us to the checkered flag in this 1 hour. And as we go, the sun gets lower, the track gets darker, and someone's off there, but no dramas for our race leaders. Someone missing a Mustang front bumper. Zach Balthazar or Scott Grinnell again?
Looks like Grinnell. He's had a bad one there. Stuffed it in the inside wall, and that car doesn't look like it's driving too good now.
If you need to be first name basis with a Ford parts guy, I know one. Scott Grinnell might find himself unfortunately in that situation.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Easy to do though. We've seen plenty of guys kind of losing it on the exit like that. These Mustangs are just real loose, really a handful to drive. The top 3 though are really kind of setting the pace right now, and I am curious to see how the fuel is going to play out. I feel like Sebring's not a track where you save a ton of fuel by being in the draft. Ooh, big slide there from Soto. But hard to say. I think you can save a lot, just rolling it into places like Sunset as well, and into the hairpin. So it's kind of hard to say. Anywhere
that you're sort of doing the dance, throttle to brake, back to throttle, back to brake is a place where even if it's not the end of a long straight, you can save a bit of fuel. So turns sort of 3, 4, 5 around here, and then a section like this, you can have 200 feet of roll before you hit the brakes through a couple of places through there, and maybe try to do some saving. Yeah,
Soto looking pretty comfortable though, running in 3rd. Getting right up on the bumper of Darling now. He seems to be asking almost for a push. Don't want to let Alessandrini get away though. He's showed some really impressive pace as we've been going around.
And he pits. The race leader pits. DJ Alessandrini is in. Paul Darling and Joshua Soto carry on. And so too does Cameron Martineau. The lights are even on. The regular headlights are on the iRacing sedan pace car, but not the yellow lights on top, because we're not going to see it again. Zachary Rubin also pits. So you'll have a couple of cars starting to come through pit lane from here, as the pole sitter DJ Alessandrini is at the pit out end in sort of box number 1. And he gets a little bit of attention to the tyres while the fuel goes in. And he's out.
It was a pretty quick stop. A little quicker than I would have guessed, stationary.
Look at all this traffic that he's going to have, though. So
Yeah.
he rejoins in 15th place alongside Davis Trask, who owes him nothing, with a handful of other cars up the road that, again, owe him nothing. It's DJ Alessandrini who's pitted early and put himself right here amongst this traffic. So Darling and Soto probably be happy to be going long. You can also see the illuminability of those palm trees now, and it'll only get stronger as the race goes on. So the call to go at least left side tyres there could help him if he thought that's what was holding it back. But there's always going to be a trade-off, and the trade-off is this traffic right now.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to manage, but our leaders are still going hard. That's Darling pushing it to the limits on the exit of tower turn with Josh Soto right on the rear bumper. And Darling now going wide, seems to be letting Soto by, and I wonder if he caught a little slowdown that time through. Easy to do at tower. Either that or he decided, hey, I've been doing a lot of leading now, one whole lap of it, and I think that it's your turn to have a go at it, Mr. Soto. Soto gets it in a big drift all the way through Lamar. That was fun.
Yeah, so Joshua Soto leads Paul Darling. You see Cameron Martineau there. You see Ryan Carwile just coming onto the Ullman straight. You got to wait a tiny bit for Nick Love, Kyle Robertson, Tim Wire. So pit entry is the place to cast your eyes right now. DJ Alessandrini having led every lap and came into pit. Now Joshua Soto does, but Paul Darling rolls on another longer. Cameron Martineau rolls on for one more.
Interesting. So is that I saved a little extra fuel? Are we actually getting to the window at this point, or are these guys still just stopping early? I'm not sure. A little deeper in the field, 16th, 17th. Mark Kruger is having Davis Trask in that Rainbow Warrior car, putting a move on him into Sunset. Ooh, and it was 3 wide there for a second with Alessandrini, who's trying to make his way through this lap traffic. And this is the traffic we were talking about. We'll see how Alessandrini's looking compared to Soto. Soto's just rolling now, and he'll be rolling out of the pits with Alessandrini coming by on the inside. So he's lost a little bit. Those tires making a difference.
Alessandrini just up the road in the grey car with baby blue stripes, but they're side by side in front of what was your pole sitter and race leader, so he's making no progress, going nowhere, but despite all of that, still remains in front of Joshua Soto after Joshua Soto's stop. A little bit too much adventure and excitement. Now around the outside of turn 6 goes DJ Alessandrini next to Sean Roberts. Going to look to outbrake Sean Roberts, but he can't outbrake Roberts too hard because Davis Trask just in front that he ends up underneath the rear wing and rear bumper of, coming through turn 7, who then kicks it sideways. They've got just a little bit of character on throttle, these cars. That's what you like to see.
These leaders are having to work for it though right now, and we'll see if you're Paul Darling and you're hearing about this, you're smiling. That's another move up the inside there for Alessandrini. Makes the move on Trask, and he's only got one more in this pack to go. And he's eating them up, but Soto is not that far behind. You can see him kind of lurking in that black and red car. And Darling's coming down the back straight. And we'll see, does he hit the pits this time, or can he stretch it at one lap further? He spent a lot of time running in second, did Darling.
How far does 7 gallons take you is the big question. The answer is yet further for Paul Darling.
That looks like it takes a whole nother lap at least, so another 3.7 miles. But you got to think that Darling's winning this time by. It's a 2:21.5 for Darling all alone, and let's see what Alessandrini does after clearing that traffic. You got to imagine he lost a little bit. Soto's going to make a big move here too. Oh, got a little brave towards Tim Trahan, but didn't quite stick it in there.
Bit of a check up with a couple of cars heading for pit entry.
That might have been a touch. Alessandrini hits the line 2:22.1. Doesn't lose that much. Maybe 7/10. So this is definitely still a race. But I would have guessed more. Those left side tires must be doing a lot of work for Alessandrini.
Yeah, potentially so. He's got all clear road in front of him now with a few other cars going to pit lane this time. Like we saw Tim Trahan and Mark Kruger. Two of the drivers we're not going to see, Thomas Yankee and Ryan Carlisle. Apparently, both of them live in Detroit, and both of them have lost power as a storm rolls through at the moment. So there are 28 examples of Detroit power on track right now, and 2 examples of them not.
That sucks. But hey, it's, you can have the mechanical on your regular car too. Now, what are we watching here? We've got Tim Train coming out of the pit lane, and I have a feeling that these cold tires might be about to bite. Oh, looked like a pretty uneventful little exit. I think he got out of the pit lane just fine, though, all things considered. Either way, he's another one of our drivers that's taken their regularly scheduled pit stop. We've got now, I think, 6 or 7 drivers that have opted to, but one of those is not Paul Darling as he comes across the line again with Cameron Martineau. This time a 2:21.2 for Darling, so getting even faster in the clear air.
I think you mean a 2:21.221.
Ah, yes. My bad. Davis Trask is holding off Josh Soto as they come into the Sunset Bend. And Soto is going to go up the inside of Trask, who tries to make the over-under work. Doesn't quite stick it in there. Soto doesn't leave him room. And you can see him getting real confident out towards that wall. That was grass once, man. You'd have paid for that line. Tim Wire comes to a stop, as does Nick Love in the pit lane. You can see them. 2 tires for Nick Love and for Wire, both going for those left sides.
Jared Collins and Bill Woods also in there. I think I see Bill Woods going for the lefts. Collins, I'm not sure.
We took our eyes off of Josh Soto for a second, and he missed the exit of turn 1. That was a hell of a moment. I wonder if we can get that one. He had that car 30 degrees to the road on the exit of turn 1 as he crossed the grass and rejoined. We'll see it here. He a little further back yet, but yeah, he's not handling so good. We'll see it. He misses the apex, gets the throttle a little early, and just carries it all the way out. I'd have came to the pits after that one, but I have a feeling Soto would carry on. He's a braver guy than me.
Have you lived if you haven't mashed full throttle through the runoff somewhere in the first sector of Sebring International Raceway?
So checking in on our lap times, Alessandrini, now that he's clear of that traffic, looking quick, 2:20.6. He gained 7/10 on Darling. 29 minutes to go. Gotta wonder if this is the point where the tires are starting to cross over. Darling squeezing it on the exit, and he's going to hit the pit lane this time. Here's Darling. Checks it up. Good looking entry. Martineau decides to keep going. 2:21.3 this time for Martineau. Still losing time to Alessandrini, but quick.
Sort of Paul Darling responds, Cameron Martineau doesn't, and there's a vanishing number of drivers who haven't stopped to this point. Now that's a bit of left side tyres going on there, but the driver that for comparison's sake is most important is this driver, DJ Alessandrini, just hitting the pit straight right now. And service not yet done, now done on Paul Darling.
Yeah, and it looks like Alessandrini is going to have one of the shortest stops of our leading group at this rate. That was, well, he cut it tight, so if there's any shortage of fuel at the end of this race, we'll know why. Soto gets it a little better this time as he exits turn number 1. Only 2 tires left the track that time. And Darling gets rolling again.
Couple of local Floridians in the race. Kyle Robertson's one of them. Joshua Soto, another. and Bowie Suin, so the Drive Trainer Motorsports guys are from down here. And so too, last season's ChampCar iRacing Series winner, Joshua Soto.
Yeah, Soto knows how to win in these cars, but he's got a little bit of a mountain to climb right now. Gap between him and Alessandrini looks like about 4 seconds. And Alessandrini's not giving that time up. That's Orlando Harrell in the white car between Alessandrini and Soto in the black car behind. Orlando having his classic race. He's well known on this channel for being the last of the long stint drivers. He can save some fuel, this guy. Currently in 4th place on the track. We'll see if he gets it all the way up. Got Mitchell here. It looks like he runs it a little bit wide. Going into turn 2. Oh, and on the exit, it gets away from him. And another front bumper sacrifice, this time at Gurney Bend, or just before it. Oh, the front bumper stays on, but the hood's looking a little worse for wear. And...
Does it survive the speed that it's then subjected to?
Martineau's hit the lane. Martineau's hit the lane now, and he's stopped, so that's the last of our top 6 to extend the stint. And Martineau gets rolling as Alessandrini comes by.
Here's Joshua Soto next as well.
Steven Schaefer, oh boy, getting it all kinds of wrong on the exit. And that's him spinning the wrong way. Tries to get back to the racing line a little before the blend line and pays for it. And this is Martineau now and Darling racing. Martineau in the Rothmans livery with Darling in the purple hit and run livery. Yeah, I think that's what that is.
Your eyes better than mine in the darkness.
Really good, respectful racing out here. We're seeing Tyler Rendell making a good move, pulling out of the way of the leaders. Honestly, been an impressively clean race from all our drivers out here. It's kind of, honestly, you get out on the real ChampCar grid and you have some good side-by-side action all the way through the field all the time. And these guys are showing you why. It's a good community of drivers out here. And if you're one of the lucky winners of the ChampCar iRacing Series, or one of the winners of the Best Be Here Club, the participation prize, as we sometimes call it, then you too could be winning some Champ bucks towards your next racing adventure. The first place winner of the whole season is going to win 2,000 Champ bucks, about enough to get you in a real world ChampCar car for a race. And if you're one of the folks that shows up for 4 consecutive races during the season, either races 1 to 4, 5 to 8, or 9 to 12, you can earn yourself 250 bucks out of the random draw that we'll do of all the folks who manage to meet that threshold. And if you got a couple friends, you're one of those popular guys, you can show up for our Enduro series. And we've actually got another one of those coming up in just a little bit. Saturday, August 10th it is. We'll have the GR86 out at VIR. So still a month away, but I'm getting excited for it,
VIR often home to some of the longer races. So here's Orlando Harrell pitting. Sean Roberts, the only other driver who hasn't stopped yet until now. So we're all in, we're all through. And DJ Alessandrini goes to the lead of the race from Joshua Soto, Paul Darling, Cameron Martineau, Zachary Rubin, and then Kyle Robertson, I reckon, will end up with 6th. We lost another Michigander in Sean Fritz.
We got a little battle here brewing for 17th place. Sennhauser's come out of the pits, and they're going through Sunset right now. Logan is up the inside of Kruger.
I knew I just wanted to be catty.
I figured that's what was happening, Haynes. I know you too well. And either way, Sennhauser's on the outside, but Kruger's got the run, and they're both barreling down into turn number 1. Sennhauser tries to hold it, and he might have the run on the exit here. Kruger's going to have the line into turn 2, but it's not going to matter because Sennhauser clears him off on the exit of 1 and dives to the apex at 2. Nicely done. And you could really start to see how dark it gets out here at Sebring. No real good track lighting, so you're relying on lighting that probably isn't ChampCar levels of legal, shining out of the fronts of these cars. It is very bright.
It's Bowie Suen going down the inside of Mark Kruger there at turn 7, trying to follow in Logan Sennhauser's footsteps. Orlando Harrell has rejoined the race just behind this battle. He's on his outlap right now, looking at Bowie Suen and Mark Kruger engaged in battle, and Suen will hold on to that spot through the next corner and then this twistier section towards Tower Bend. Suen looks to have not only taken the spot but cemented it now.
Yeah. Suen's having a good little run. Another battle we're seeing out on track is the battle between Tim Trahan in 13th and Bill Woods in 14th. The two of them are getting pretty close together. Trahan is still running that pretty blue livery and seems to know where to shift the car a little better than Bill Woods, because he's pulling the gap on the back straightaway here. But Bill's been pretty good under braking. We'll see if he tries to dive it in there in Sunset. You can see there's this kind of really wide entry that you can run, and Woods runs it back to tight and touches the inside wall that time through Sunset. Nice shower of sparks now that the sun's down. And you might be expecting to see around 10th place that car Mitchell Marefka, but after having gained as many as 20 places at one point, Mitchell's had a little accident and had to tow it back to the pit, so he's all the way down in 24th place. Consistency is king in these hour-long ChampCar races. 20 minutes to go.
Not the only driver to have maybe found the car handling on the outlap to be a different and surprising and be caught out by that. It looks like that's what's happened to Mahefka. They got one lap in after their pit stop and had an error or a mistake.
Back at the front of the grid, Soto and Darling are getting connected together and battling over the minor places on the podium right now.
And going faster than DJ Alessandrini last lap. We'll wait and see what happens at the end of this one as well. If Alessandrini, who has almost far and away the shortest pit stop of everyone else.
Oh no, I think Soto's got that slowdown. Dropping to the inside. Not sure where he would have picked it up. Maybe he's
Did he cleared it quickly?
Yeah, maybe he's decided he doesn't want to be in second place. He'd rather draft Darling.
He's Cameron Martineau, who was quickest car on the track last lap. So how about that? Suddenly Martineau's back in the picture.
So just looking, we've got 4 guys now battling for the top 3 and 4 different pit strategies, in case you're wondering. Newest tires of this bunch, Martineau. Darling's got the second newest, a little dirtiest there too. Jeez. And Josh Soto, he's got the oldest at 7 laps. So he might be feeling that pain because these tires do go away quickly. I think they're those old Goodrich, like we said, there's this really soft compound they used to have. You could get them for the go-karts for a while, I think. I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't the same compound, but it would get real hot and wear out quick.
Here we have second, third, fourth through the turn 7 hairpin. Again, another lap in a row, closing in on race leader DJ Alessandrini, who they can see just up the road and is beginning to encounter a little bit more traffic as we run longer into this race. 18 minutes left of the 60-minute round 6 of ChampCar iRacing series.
And Martineau was 1.1 seconds faster than Alessandrini last time by. And want to know who's got the oldest tires of all? That's DJ out there in the front. So he's going to be struggling more than these guys will at the end of the race. And he had to work those tires pretty hard on the outlap as he tried to clear traffic for those first 2 laps, if I remember. A little more traffic ahead of him is Mitchell Marefka. DJ will be coming up on him shortly. Stick with the battle pack, though. Yeah.
It's been caught a fair bit sector to sector. So they're not going to let DJ Alessandrini get away with this. Paul Darling, Joshua Soto, Cameron Martineau, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, approaching Sunset Bend. Another lap, inching ever closer back towards the race lead.
Gotta wonder if DJ's having to do a little fuel save too. As I mentioned, he had a shorter stop than all the rest.
Led the whole way in the first stint. Leads all on his lonesome right now.
Yeah, I just hopped on board. That's a big old lift and coast into one. Probably 200, 300, 250 out. He's lifting. And really letting the car roll through the middles. For us, used to drive in the low-powered kind of, cars that tend to populate the ChampCar series, at least among the teams that don't win much. What do we got here? We got Orlando Harold battling. He is getting close to the likes of Bowie Suin ahead. Oh, and spins it out.
Aaron Reed gave him a little bit of help there, and then 2 corners later gave someone else a little bit of help. So.
That's how you make friends, Aaron.
Reading is not meant to be a contact sport.
Yeah, Reed was up the inside of Kruger a little bit, and that was a tough one. Yeah, but sure enough, Alessandrini is still fuel saving, a 2:22.5 last time by. It was for DJ. And the 2:20.8 Martineau. Yeah, that's big. 1.7 second.
Yeah, so 3.2 seconds the lead at the moment, and then just as I say it, I can call it out at intervals now, because it's 3 now, and this group are pushing relatively hard. And as you pointed out, Alessandrini's got to save. How about a bit of Alessandrini on board towards Sunset Bend? Could be very, very informative as to the kind of situation he's in at the moment.
Yeah, if you're here in the car, he drives it in pretty deep that time, all the way to the 2-cone, but not a whiff of throttle all the way through to the apex before getting on it on the exit. But going into 1 was where I heard it last time. Let's see if he does it again. I wonder if he's listening to the broadcast. He's not giving us any hints. Either way, maybe he's noticed that his gap is dwindling a little quicker than he wants. 2:22.4, and they're all off the track behind him. That was Darling again, trying the wild side of the curb.
Follow the leader as well. So easily done through there. We've pointed out that there's not a whole lot of reference markers through turn 1 as to how committed you are. So sometimes the car in front goes to run off, you just follow them off. It can happen like that so easily.
Not a lot of time to be gained out there, I'll say. But if there were, Paul Darling's trying to find it. He's got 24 incident points through 50 minutes, 47 minutes, and I think most of them accrued from going flying off the track in turn 1.
As we're still heading towards a bit of a crescendo with our top 4, what was a 3.2 second gap down to 2.7 first to second place. Spotlight through the field. Davis Trask, Nick Love, Andy Kosick battling. Bill Woods, Tim Trahan battling. Sean Roberts, Lee Martin, Logan Senhauser battling. Bowie Sue and Aaron Reed, Cameron Senhauser battling. Tim Wire, Orlando Harrell battling. Tyler Rendell, Bill Salen battling. So pick your poison on that one.
We got car off the track. That's Lounsbury. And after a win in round 3, he's not having a good day today. That's car 24, and yeah, just kind of gets a little sideways going through the right-hander there at Jean Dubier Bend. Keeps it off the wall, but that's not the fast way.
I could point out a couple of differences between a Ford Mustang and a Renault Clio as to why one might suit Colin Lounsbury better than another.
That was a big hit for Paul Darling on the exit, a Sunset there. He got away with it. Gotta wonder, though, if those tires are starting to go away.
Joshua Soto or Cameron Martineau muscle their way through here now on Paul Darling. He's been in second place for a while. We saw the speed that Cameron Martineau had closing in on this, but then he sat fourth place ever since. If not now, then when?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think DJ's heard that too, because last time by he was 2:21.8 and Darling a 2:21.9. So he's feeling the pressure. 2.5 seconds between them, and he's doing everything he can to hold on to it at this point. We might have a battle for the lead yet, and we're definitely going to have one for the last 2 steps on the podium.
I think Mahefka is the car in between.
It is, yeah.
At the moment. 2.4 seconds. First to second place now. Not coming down as quickly as it was earlier on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once you get the new off these tires, there's not a lot left. I can't tell if that's the car flickering just because it's right at the edge of the headlights, or if that's some headlights flashing. Drivers in the in-game are not having as much fun driving the car as we are watching the cars around here, I think. The tires are getting pretty beat up on this thing.
Martineau suddenly a little bit further back. Did he overstep the track limits perhaps a little bit? With 10 minutes to go in round 6 of ChampCar iRacing Series, we'll take a look at Mark Kruger of Kruger Tunes. So he's got Tim Wire, I think, behind him there. No, sorry. Ooh. Yes, Tim Wire.
Good save. Good job keeping it off of his buddies there. Oh, and they're really close together going through one. Oh, we got another spinner all on his own. Steven Schaefer's facing the wrong way. But he'll rejoin safely. Anyway.
Underneath 2 seconds for DJ Alessandrini now. No more traffic in the way here either. Paul Darling is over the curbs, glancing the wall, making sparks, kicking up the dust everywhere he goes. He's got all of Sebring International Raceway and then some as his playground right now. But still, with Joshua Soto and Cameron Martineau saving maybe something in reserve, riding his coattails, and your top 4 in the battle for the lead are all within one shot coming out of turn 7.
If these weren't 2000s Mustangs, this could be a race in the 1970s with the way Paul Darling was just wringing the neck of that car, throwing it over the curbs, throwing it over the exit curbs. This is good stuff. Man fighting machine to extract every little bit of lap time you can out of it.
Be a race in the 90s, the way one of them's advertising cigarettes, but whatever. 1.6 seconds first to second place. You can tell how much closer Paul Darling is getting. And of course, bringing Joshua Soto and Cameron Martineau with him the whole time. First, second, third, fourth. Bit of a lift here now from Paul Darling. And he gets a tap from Joshua Soto. Do we need a shake-up in the pursuing pack if they're going to continue to reel in DJ Alessandrini? The predictor says 4 more laps left in this race.
I'd agree with you, but Darling had the longest stop of all of them by almost a second. So, hard to say, but Soto might be getting impatient too. It's fun to drive the car right on the line of the limit and a few steps over it, but it's not always the best for the tires. 1 1/4 seconds now. They're going to be getting what little draft there is as they come around Gurney Bend this time.
Underneath the vehicle overpass.
If the Jaws music weren't...
Straightens out just before the braking zone for turn 7.
If the Jaws music weren't copyrighted, we could probably start playing it right now.
We could play the no, that first Mickey Mouse one. You know what's out of copyright.
Yeah.
Underneath 1
Steamboat
second though.
Willie, yeah.
That's critical right now. DJ Alessandrini's lead evaporating from 4 or 5 seconds. And it looks like it's not just a question of fuel. It is a question of those rear tires right now, as he got it super squirrely. Paul Darling gets even closer. Joshua Soto still monstering him. Cameron Martineau a couple of Mustang lengths back at the moment. When you see them pick up the throttle in 2nd gear, 3rd gear, you know why. It's an extreme sport to watch these leave a car meet.
Yeah, if someone could have predicted how many cars we'd see spinning the tires and ending up in the wall today, if they were an expert on that genre of YouTube video. 0.9 onto the back straight this time.
So what does Joshua Soto do? He decides that he wants to make the move now. Darling rolled out of the throttle a lap ago. Soto won't have any of that. He'll get down the inside of Sunset Bend for 2nd place. On a shallow line in, he'll need to rotate through the middle of the corner to get to throttle. Paul Darling gets to the throttle just a little bit better, but both of them still closer to DJ Alessandrini than they were a lap ago. Cameron Martineau still looming. Twice a race winner this year in ChampCar iRacing Series. Your top 4 are covered by underneath a second with 5 minutes left to go in the race from Sebring.
2 guys without a race win this season, followed by 2 guys with 2 race wins each this season. Oh, it's going to be a fun one here to the end.
It sure is, and it continues to grow darker over Sebring International Raceway. A fireworks display scheduled for the wave of the checkered flag, just the last vestiges of the sun over the horizon, a little bit of a glow. Joshua Soto is within 3/10 of DJ Alessandrini. He's within striking distance, and suddenly the pressure is on. The pole sitter, man who's led more laps than any other to this point. But what matters the most is who's got their snout in front when they take the checkered flag in just over 4 minutes' time.
Things are loose. Soto's right up on the rear bumper of Alessandrini. Now where's he going to do it? If he thinks he can do it. Oh, big slide there from Soto across the apex. Manages to get it square by the time he gets the throttle down, though. Martineau hanging back, maybe sensing disaster.
Big moment for Joshua Soto, indeed it was. And now it's Paul Darling almost running up the back of Joshua Soto. A return of the favour. 4 of them are all going to use all the available road and all the legal road to get a good run onto the Ullman straight here. But I sense some pressure from DJ Alessandrini, still needing to manage his fuel burn just a little bit. Lap times are in the 2-minute 20, 2-minute 22s. He pulls to one side, he cracks the throttle. Joshua Soto goes to the race lead with 3 minutes to go. Paul Darling and Cameron Martineau follow through, and the pole sitter, with fuel to save, drops to the tail of the pack with 2 laps to go. No white flag at the starter's stand by about 20 seconds. So we have 2 more at Sebring International Raceway to decide this, and it could be between any 4, but it's looking unlikely to be DJ Alessandrini, who was probably praying for the white flag. He didn't get it. We've got 2 more laps.
Yeah, I was going to say that explains a lot. DJ banking on 1 less lap than we got, and he's there might not have been a white flag at the stand, but he's put a white flag up out the window of that car.
Dropping back big time. He's dropping back quickly. Joshua Soto leads from Paul Darling. Cameron Martineau's opportunity to strike in these final 2 laps, heading towards the braking zone at turn 7. Darling is so deep on the brakes, but then a little late on the way in. Picks up good throttle. All of the drivers in this group still stand a chance of taking the race win.
I could not have guessed that. DJ was pushing hard through the last segment of the race there, but he's lifting 400, 500 feet out through the corners now. I think he's going to be riding in 5th gear all the way home, get that economy gear. Meanwhile, Paul Darling starting to look racy up the inside, heading towards Tower Turn, and Cameron Martineau's right on the rear bumper. He knows his chance. Soto's still holding on to it, though. Will this be the first race win for Soto this year?
A lot of pace being shown from Joshua Soto right now, but he's got that thing sideways at every opportunity. Mighty aggressive driving style to deliver the pace, while Darling and Martineau behind have been a little more subdued, but not completely restrained. Still, their sideways moments, their times that they've kicked up a little bit of grass, like Cameron Martineau will do right now. And Joshua Soto, he's ready to play the games. He goes to one side of the straight, back to the other. For whatever slipstream there is, he doesn't want to give it away for free. He's going to have a 0.6 of a second lead coming in towards the final lap from Paul Darling, from Cameron Martineau sitting there in 3rd, through Sunset Bend, right up against the wall at the apex, right up against the tyre bundles at the exit. Now Barney, the flag man, has the white flag, saying it's the final lap, 20 seconds left on the clock, and the last lap will decide it all. 0.6 covering the podium positions. DJ Alessandrini, a fleeting visage in the background of the shot, now 11 seconds away from the race lead.
It's close through turn 2. It's close coming onto the short chute here.
Absolutely flat out through turn 6, down towards turn 7. It's called the Big Bend, but it's basically a straightaway, even for these Ford Mustangs. Biggest braking zone on the track, turn 7, and Joshua Soto throws it in deep as he dare, but Paul Darling's been stronger on the brakes. Really got a straight line to pick up the throttle out of there, and that keeps him 2 car lengths away from the race lead. And Cameron Martineau still hasn't really led at any point through this whole race, but he's always had an eye on the leaders and been in position to pick it up should anything come his way. Go through this handful of corners here, always with some steering angle in the car. Tough to maintain the throttle while you've got steering angle when the tires are old, when you've used and abused them. And the relatively primitive suspension of this generation of Ford Mustang doesn't make it easier, and it makes it a game of driver's skill. Soto, 2 tires through the dirt off of Tower Bend, still remaining just 2 car lengths clear of Paul Darling, already twice a race winner. Joshua Soto without one. Martineau, twice a race winner. Someone, and only one, can be the race winner at Sebring. Drive onto the Ullman Straight is good for Darling, it's good for Martineau, and Soto knows he's under pressure. To the right, to the left, He weaves them, and there's only one braking zone left in the lap at Sebring. I don't know if Darling's got the fuel to be full throttle. Martineau's closing in on him. Martineau has a dive for second. Soto loves to see them side by side in his mirrors, and 3 Mustangs are in 3 Mustang spaces. It's all about the drive off Sunset Bend towards the checkered flag and the fireworks. Soto is in front, but Martineau and Darling are side by side crossing the line. Fireworks in the sky, fireworks on the track. Joshua Soto strikes back in 2024 with his first race win. Martineau and Darling will be left on 2 apiece.
Alessandrini's limping at home. He's in 5th gear and he's trying to get it to the line. He's trying everything he can. Mitchell's trying to play the plate and he doesn't want to pass him. And sure enough, DJ's going to get it to the line after misjudging the fuel. Zachary Rubin's coming around Sunset Bend. He was racing for everything he was worth, but hard to overcome. 30 seconds on the final lap. Zach crosses the line in 5th place. Kyle Robertson coming around Sunset in 6th with Jared Collins not far behind. The nearest battle is between Davis Trask and Nick Love, who are on the back straight heading into Sunset Bend right now. Nicholas coming up behind, under brake and closing the gap. It's going to be tough though. I don't know if he's got enough to get it off the corner. We'll see. Oh, running wide is Trask. He taps the outside wall. It's not going to be enough though. Nick Love comes to the line in 9th behind Davis Trask in 10th. Andy Cossack completes a great race here, coming from 15th place all the way up to 10th, rounding out our top 10. Tim Trahan is trying to chase down Bill Woods as they come off the final corner. Those two have been glued together for 20 laps, and they finish 11th and 12th. Sean Roberts crosses the line 14th with Lee Martin right behind in 15th. And Colin Lounsbury is going to cross the line in 24th, a lap down. Logan Senhauser, Bowie Sewin, Orlando Harrell coming to the line. Tim Wire, after some early action, crosses in 17th. And Kruger, after an incident earlier on, running 19th. He's one of our final drivers on the lead lap. Zach Balthazar still holding it 2 for 20th. And it looks like Cameron Senhauser and Aaron Reed are going to be our final 2 on track battling and door banging on this final lap.
3 cars came to pit lane out of fuel coming towards the white flag. This is 2 of them. They're racing on their outlap from their second stop to the checkered flag. Aaron Reed through Tower Turn runs out wide, but a massive slide from Cameron Senhauser trying to get to the throttle. You can see a couple of cars just ahead of them, Mark Kruger and Zach Balthazar. So it wasn't just DJ Alessandrini, a few other drivers struggling with running out of fuel towards the end. A bit of a miscalculation, too aggressive with waving off the fuel man.
Yeah, you want to get that short pit stop. It matters a lot in these Champ Car races, but you play it wrong and it will bite you. It'll happen. Cameron Senhauser still riding behind Aaron Reed after Aaron Reed got the elbows out to make the move. They're heading down in Sunset one last time. It would be a big lunge for Senhauser at this point, but you never know. We'll see how it goes over the bumps here at Sebring. As the last 2 cars on the lead lap come to the line, it's going to be Aaron Reed, followed by Cameron Senhauser, closing out what was an exciting hour here at Sebring.
I think they almost got Balthazar in all of that as well. Great race. In the end, what was a 6-way fight became a 4-way fight, became a 3-way fight. Joshua Soto took the race win from Cameron Martineau and Paul Darling. DJ Alessandrini coughing, spluttering, coasting his way to 4th place, having led the race from pole position. Zachary Rubin then in 5th. Kyle Robertson, the Floridian local, coming through the field a couple of positions to 6th from Jared Collins, Davis Trask, Nick Love and Andy Cossack as the top 10. Bill Woods, Tim Trahan, Sean Roberts, Lee Martin, Logan Senhauser, Bowie Sewin, Orlando Harrell, Tim Wire, Mark Kruger and Zach Balthazar as 20th place. Still on the lead lap, but because of their late pit stop, 3.5 minutes behind the leaders. Cameron Senhauser, Aaron Reed, Mitchell Mahefka as well, and Colin Lounsbury, Tyler Rendell, Bill Salen. Stephen Schaefer and Albert Pearsall, the last classified finishers. Ryan Carwile, Sean Fritz, victims of the Michigan blackout at the moment, apparently. And then Scott Grinnell, a retirement. Thomas Yankee also encountering troubles with the same weather as his fellow Michiganders.
While you've been reading out the results there, we found our finishers. We found our third place finisher. That's Paul Darling. 2 race wins on the season and a tight battle for the finish here tonight. Did it seem like you had anything for Soto at the end there?
No, my pace was absolutely pathetic all race. I think that was pretty obvious. It was I just could not get the hang of this. The Mustang. It was a really, really bad showing as far as pace for me.
Well, from our side of things, it looked like you were having a real great time out there, whether it was wringing the neck of the thing over the curbs or we're in the grass.
Yeah, I could not figure the car out. Who was it? Cameron. I guess I didn't really see Cameron as much, but Josh and DJ were destroying me on that run in the S's onto the back straight. I could not figure this thing out.
That's a tricky set of corners. On the final lap there, you and Martineau were glued together. Were you thinking big picture points at this point in the season, or just focus on Sunset Bend?
Nah, I was trying to keep it. I mean, I got a bunch of missed races coming up, so I think Martineau is definitely going to pit me there. So, but it was a great race and great pass from him at the end there.
Good stuff. You had the longest stop of all the leaders. Were you banking on this thing going the extra lap?
No, that must have been an accident then, because I put in what I thought was 22 liters, but maybe my math was wrong then.
Either way, it was good showing from you, and a good third place, despite how you're feeling about it.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. So how much longer was my stop?
Oh, it's about a second longer than Martineau and about 2 seconds longer than Alessandrini.
2 seconds long. Okay. That's weird. Got check math there. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, buddy. Anyone you need to thank for tonight?
Not tonight. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for coming out.
How about one step further up the podium? Cameron Martineau is gonna join us. Well, you sort of sat and watched and waited until those last couple of laps there, and then you were able to pilfer 2 spots.
Yeah. I was just talking to Josh, and I think him and I was struggling quite a bit with pace in the early going. I was trying to think about, the long run and saving fuel, but I committed to the H pattern this week and clearly did not do enough practice shifting gears, because it seemed as though every single time I get into the draft, I would, miss a shift. So, and then, just at the end there, I think I just had better pace. I don't know if the other guys didn't take tires, but I was able to take left side tires and gradually work my way back up. Just basically waited for my moment and pounced. So, and glad it worked out this time.
Well, congratulations on the effort. You're shifting aside, what kind of a strategy were you thinking everyone else would go for, and how yours played out?
I thought for sure that Paul and DJ were going to work together that entire race and kind of go in on the same exact strategy and just play the, leapfrog game. I thought, and definitely, I know those guys are top class racers, and I thought they were definitely going to take the tires if they could get it for free. And same with Josh too. I know he's got a lot of experience with types of cars and would definitely know about, taking at least one side of tires. I thought maybe Josh would try to do something different, which he ended up doing, than Paul and I. So, but it looked like as soon as I looked up at kind of my track map and saw that both DJ and Josh were in traffic, I kind of made the decision to just stay out from there, and try to stay with Paul, get some clean air, and I guess it worked out for me this time.
Well, you can rest after this workout, 1 hour of pushing some American muscle.
Yeah. I mean, this car is an absolute blast to drive. It's if you haven't picked it up, I know it's got a bit of a learning curve, but it's fun. It's fun to try to practice heel towing, the slow in, fast out, and when you have a bunch of really, really good drivers like DJ, Paul, and Josh to race against, this car is an absolute riot. So hopefully when we come back to it again, we can have another great race.
Yeah, I did hear a couple mixed reviews of it from the other end of the grid, but it's got one more outing in ChampCar iRacing Series in 2024, and that's round 9 at Fuji Speedway. So if you're enjoying it, you'll get one more trip out of it this year.
Awesome. I'll just have to learn Fuji. Probably a great track. So thank you guys for putting it on the calendar, and thank you guys for putting this on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Congrats on your podium result, continuing to amass some points, and we'll hopefully see you for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
There we go. Second place, Cameron Martineau, picking off one spot on the last lap, picking off another spot when DJ Alessandrini's fuel light cried low. But there's one last driver, Devin Peters, the man of the moment.
That's right, Josh. It's been a slow start to the season, but a return to Florida helps you out and gets you your first win of the 24 iRacing season here at Sebring.
Oh yeah. Definitely had to get the win here at Sebring. It's my favorite track. Yeah, it was really challenging. Getting up to speed in these cars. Not particularly too used to the Mustang, but it's it definitely took me a little bit of time, and also DJ Alessandrini is super fast, so it was a good race.
Coming down to the end there, it looked like pit strategy was going to play a factor, but I don't think any of us could have expected to see DJ pulling off like he did at the end there. Were you in the mindset that you were racing for the race lead when you were with those other guys, or did you not have a clue like us up in the booth?
I kind of figured there was like some kind of a problem with DJ. I noticed in the relative that he was kind of dropping down like maybe 2 tenths every lap. So I figured, there was probably some fuel issues, or it was just abnormal. So also he was running at the front of the pack, and got out of the pits ahead of me. So I was like, he probably might have short fueled a little bit. That's just what I was thinking.
Notice an early stop from you and DJ as well. You had a bit of traffic to deal with on the exit. What was going through the mind when you made that call?
Oh yeah, just just to get through the traffic as fast as possible, because DJ he did really well getting through the traffic, and my main thing was just to get through the traffic as fast as possible and try to recover any time lost during that phase.
Think back to the race here. Any tips you can give folks for driving the Mustang like a race winner does?
I would say just be patient on the throttle. These could be extremely loose if you get on the throttle, especially if you're turning like a very tight corner. So just be patient on the throttle. Sometimes you can get away with it, but as soon as the car sets, then you should be able to accelerate.
Good stuff. Well, first win of the season. Are you putting Martineau and Paul on notice? You coming back for another title?
I am out of drop weeks, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. I'm definitely gonna try to show up as much as possible. So we'll see.
Well, it was a pleasure to have you and a great show tonight, man. Anyone you need to shout out?
Yes. I think ChampCar for the series, Tire Rack, and yeah, also you guys, the broadcasters, you guys, week in week out, you do really great job. So I just want to thank you guys as well.
Cheers, man. It's an easy job when you put on such a good show.
All right, thank you.
Well, Haynes, an exciting, steamy night there in Sebring.
Yeah, what a treat we got served up. Like I said, there was 6, then there was 4, then there was 3. And with 2 drivers already with multiple wins under their belt, Joshua Soto held them off, puts himself into the winner's circle for the first time in 2024. And it makes ChampCar iRacing Series must-watch stuff, if it wasn't already, for the rest of the season. The talent that we've seen, the great racing from all, everywhere. There were points where you would need 10 screens to watch all the battling that was happening at Sebring tonight. And if you had hjbc.live up, you had maybe had an idea. And that's what we love, is that it's about, showcasing some of the talent, but it's about giving everyone someone to practice with, someone to race with, to get everyone excited about the ChampCar Endurance Series heading to Sebring for some real-world, affordable wheel-to-wheel racing in a couple weekends' time. For the iRacing Series, our next round is July 17. So we take the Porsche and BMW GT4s to Barber Motorsports Park. Forum.champcar.org has all the information if you want to watch again, if you want to join us on track. We are always taking more drivers, and a few additions this round really contributed to the show, to the awesome racing we had. You'll see it all on ChampCar Live and on HJBC next time we go racing. David Haynes with Devin Peters, Michael Derby. We look forward to seeing you in a month's time for the next round of ChampCar iRacing Series.